Hey, it's a great day to make some flowers. Mother's Day is just around the corner, and we've got some beautiful. There's just an amazing variety of flowers available right now. I think it's just kind of interesting. And I always like to, I just like to see what I get when I go to the flower seller. So I stopped over at the flower seller this morning, and I just found some really cool things, right? And so I need to make an arrangement for Kelly's mom for Mother's Day, but then I'm also going to make one for the house too, because, sometimes when you buy stuff, you have more than you need, and I don't like, to cram a whole bunch of stuff into one thing. I want to, make them pretty. So we're going to make two arrangements at the same time, and we're also going to talk about some cool techniques. So I thought it would be fun for us. So to start off with, we have two containers, and I filled them with ice cold water. Okay. And this one holds a liter, so I can give it a squirt of Chrysler Professional 3. This one holds a little bit more than a liter. And so I'm going to just do a squirt and a little bit more inside there. Our Chrysler Professional 3 is going to make sure that our flowers are going to last a long time, and they're going to be wonderful. And so that's important. And what I might do is I'm going to see if I can keep this guy here while we work on it. So it's great. We'll start with a little bit of foliage structure. We're using today our, we've got our compact pruners, and we've got our bypass cutter from our friends at Dram. And somewhere I have a knife if I need it. That's awesome. These are actually some Monstera leaves that I got in my last bunch that didn't have Monstera. They're like big philodendron leaves. They come off the same plant, which is amazing. And I love that. But I figured I would use those. So we'll put one over here in this vase. I'm going to put him up here because he might hang a little bit better up there. Cool. And then this one over here. And that looks like it'll sit there a little bit better. All right. Then I have some lily grass. And I'm just going to keep it in a bunch, but I'm going to cut it at an angle with my compact pruner and then just drop it in here. And that's going to help support that little Monstera leaf a little bit more too. Actually, what I'm going to do, I think, is just scoop this over a little bit. So we got a little bit of room there. That's nice. I love it when this starts to hang out one side too. And I know where this is going to sit in Kel's mom's house. She's got kind of a bookcase, and it sits on the bookcase in the living room. And so it's kind of drape off one side. So that'll be perfect. So let's see. For other structure, let's talk about this. I picked up this amazing hydrangea this morning. It's a jewel tone hydrangea. It still has the little baggie on the end that it gets shipped with, which is great. But I want to get rid of that, so it's gone. Look at that guy, right? Look at that. Amazing, right? So pretty. And again, when you touch this, it almost feels leathery because it's, had those cool nights, which causes that patina to happen to it and everything. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this as my structure for this arrangement. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to need these two leaves. I'm going to pull those off. And then the rest of this guy, I am just going to cut at a sharp angle. And I'm going to drop it in on top of everybody. Just like that. So see, look at that. So now I still have my beautiful little philodendron here. I've got my lily grass coming off that side. And it's the structure. So I'm going to use it almost as a flower frog to go through, right? Just amazing. And so it'll hold and help stabilize my other flowers. Pretty fun. For my other one, this is another surprise that I got this morning. Is blooming grevillea. Look at that. Isn't it pretty? All those little blooms with, they're just like, they're almost like little bottle brushes. That's why grevillea sometimes gets the name of the bottle brush plant. Okay. But they are like little bottle brushes. And my mother-in-law, her favorite, Kelly's mom, is her favorite color is red. She loves red. And so I was kind of inspired by the color red when I was looking around in the flower cellar this morning to kind of see what else I could find. So now look at this little guy like that. He's going to be perfect over here. He's going to be a perfect size for over there. Where over here, well, and you know what? That's going to be perfect too over here. So a lot of times I will make two arrangements at the same time. Sometimes if I want them to coordinate but not match, I will make them at the same time because I want to do that. And again, with this, I'm just peeling off all the leaves that are going to fall below the water line, right? And I'm going to cut that off just a little bit more. And look at how that's going to be part of my structure there for this little guy. Wonderful. Okay. This grevillea smells so great too because it's got like a fresh, herbally kind of a smell with it too. They had all sorts of beautiful flowers this morning. And, you know, I think we're gearing up towards Mother's Day, but I think more since the pandemic started that people are, especially my flower sellers, are carrying more flowers. And I think that that's really great just because people love having flowers around their house. And so it's a great opportunity for them to have more types of flowers available. So there we go there. Now look at this was the bottom of that last one. And it's still got a couple of little berries and stuff on it and leaves. So I'm going to cut that, put it in my other one over here. These have a really strong woody stem, and they have a little bit of like little seed pods. Well, actually, those are the buds. Wow, I don't know if you can see that. But look at the buds are coming on out of those seed pods, and they're going to burst into bloom in those wonderful little bottle brush shapes. And I think that, you know, that's why we use our Chrysal Professional 3, because that's giving flower food to the flowers so that they can open up the rest of the way. And that's important. So I hope that we haven't talked a little while about rituals lately, and I want you to think about your rituals again. I want you to think about the fact that you're going to choose a special time where you're going to arrange your flowers. We are excited. We do have the soundtrack to Jay Schwanke's Life in Bloom coming soon. It's going to be on Amazon as downloads, and it's also going to be available as an actual CD too. So those are coming. And that's exciting so that people can arrange flowers to our music that my friend Ben created for the series. So that's exciting. And let's see. I think these two need to go down here in this one. So I think I've got enough over there with all the other things I'm going to do. So again, we're just going to put our grevillea blooms over here. All right. So then, let's see what I got back here. I have some Hypericum, okay, which I think is going to be great too. Again, I'll look at the great color on that, right? So red coloration too. Now you'll see, I'm arranging things. I'm arranging things in a specific order, okay? Because I want to make sure that I don't damage any of the pretty cool, delicate flowers that are coming up. And so we're going to add our Hypericum. And look at those little Hypericums. They're kind of busted. There's a couple that are busted in there. I just trim them off because I don't like them hanging there, and I don't want them looking unsightly. I'm going to put that one over there because, you know, only the best for my mother-in-law, right? So that's good. Okay. But yeah, putting these guys in there, you know what? A couple of these are really long. I don't want them looking completely like fireworks. They're looking a little bit like fireworks to me. Okay. That's better. Give me a little bit of dimension, depth and dimension in that arrangement. So I just kind of kicked it down a little bit. See, look at how that's looking. Awesome, right? And typically there are 10 stems of Hypericum in a bunch. So I've got 6 in there. I've got 1 over here so far. There's 2 and 3 and 4. And I think this last one, we're going to go with 4 there, 7 over here. Okay. Look at, and I love, okay, look at how that hydrangea is being my armature and my structure for this bouquet, right? I'm just arranging my flowers right through it. Really cool, really simple, easy to do, right? And this guy, I'm going to shorten up a little bit more too. So the lesson from this is that if we don't like the way something looks, we can change it. That's part of the rules. And so part of that ritual is when you're arranging stuff and you think, oh, that would be better shorter, it's okay. Because the first person we need to please is ourselves. Then we can please other people with our bouquets. Now, I'm going to use some carnations. And I just bought a whole bunch of pink carnations. And we are actually going to use everybody. So I'm just going to do this because there's always plenty of length on my carnations, always. And so I cut them a little bit shorter. Obviously, I want them shorter, so I cut them off. But look how pretty they are. Oh, they match my shirt. How about that? Woo! Okay. And again, when a carnation comes in, it might look a little bit like this. Where can you see it? There you go. But if I wanted to, I could just gently, with my fingers, reflex it a little bit more and open it up so it looks like that. But now here's the other thing, is that is why we use our Chrysal Professional 3. Because with our Chrysal Professional 3, it is going to allow these carnations to open naturally as they're going along. That food in the Chrysal Professional 3 is going to provide nutrients that allow these carnations to open up as they are growing along. When we start to cut a flower off of a plant, it begins to die. I know that that's kind of unfortunate. And I mean, so I think about that all the time. So when you're cutting it from its life source, it's going to start to expire. And so if we can make it as happy and allow it to still open as we go through that process, that's going to be even better for the flower. And that's why there are different elements in the flower food. There is a flower food, sugars, free sugars that are available. And those sugars feed the plant as it does its photosynthesis. As it's drawing water up its stem, it is then, and when it creates photosynthesis, it creates suction, okay? So it can draw the nutrients up its stem. Without leaves, that's why I never pull all the leaves off of flowers, because if I pull all the leaves off, there's no photosynthesis taking place, and it can't create suction, which helps it draw moisture up the stem. Now look at with this one over here. I cut some of those real short, and I put them in the middle so that it gives depth and dimension to the bouquet, so that when there's other flowers over the top, there's still some carnations deep down inside the bouquet that are going to open up down inside there. And that gives depth and dimension. Because, when I talked about fireworks before, that's kind of the way I feel about these guys, is they kind of look like fireworks. Come on, baby. There we go. See, what was holding it up was this little bunch of greens down there. Yep. So I want this guy a little bit shorter. That's better. Prettier. There we go. I always fuss. And you know what is interesting is even a day or two after the arrangement's completed, like I might go over to see my mother-in-law, and then I'll mess with it again. Once I get it set in the spot where it's going to go, I'm going to go in there and I might mess with it a little bit more. The great part about the Chrysler Professional 3, though, is not only so we have the sugars inside there. We have an antibacterial agent which keeps it from creating more bacteria in the water, and that's really helpful because bacteria is the #1 enemy of our flowers. Okay, so that's good. That's inside there. There's a vasodilator that dilates the vascular system of the flower. So as it's taking up the flower nutrients, it dilates that vascular system, those veins, the vessels that are taking the water up, and blocks them and holds them open. So that's very important. pH level. There's a pH controller in here that controls the pH level so that it's between 3.5 and 4.5. Sometimes water coming out of our tap can be as high as 7 to 9. Crazy. Bad for flowers, okay? We want it to be between 3.5 and 4.5. And so that pH controller in the Chrysler Professional 3 helps with that too. So see how we've got big mama version and little baby version. So that's kind of going on right there. Now let's see. I have some roses. Now, sometimes what some people would tell you is roses are, a prestige flower. People love roses. These are spray roses. I love spray roses because it's a great value for me. There's one more stem sitting down here. Okay. Great value for me because I have several stems of roses on several buds or blooms on one stem. And they do have little stems. I mean, I guess they do have stems. That's great. So now again, I got to remove all those pieces of foliage. And this is just so great because what happens is my hydrangea is going to hold this guy in place. I'm cutting them at an angle. Over here in this one, my grevillea is going to hold those stems in place so that they stay in one spot. That's why that structure first, and many times it's foliage, right? Many times it's the fabulous foliage that we have. There are the green bouquets. I have videos up about those right now online here at YouTube. And they're great. They're a great structure, because even if you're arranging flowers from the garden, and we have a garden flower that we're just actually going to use today in these bouquets too, because I like to have, when I have flowers in the garden, I want to share them. And I think it also is good theming for the occasion, right? So I'll show you more about that in just a second. Okay, so these guys are, I know people talk about filler flowers. I hate that word. I hate the word filler flowers. I don't like to call flowers fillers because I think it's like, I think about fillers in dog food or in hot dogs, grosses me out. So I like to think of them as accent flowers. They are flowers that provide an accent to the other flowers. So I have utilized my spray roses, my carnations, my Hypericum as accent flowers. My interest flowers definitely are the grevillea that I have inside here. But now let's add something a little more interesting too. All right, so you might want to get a chair in case you're standing up watching this or something, because you're going to have to sit down when you see these beautiful tulips that I got this morning. I could not believe them myself. I was so excited. Look at those. And they have furry, feathery, fuzzy edges. Aren't those incredible? They've got a yellow cast to the back. And when I literally stopped in my tracks when I walked into the cooler, I thought, oh, I have to have those. Those are beautiful. We're going to do that one of these days. We're going to go to the flower cellar together. I just got to figure out how we're going to manage that with filming and stuff. But, and I know I can do the iPhone and I can do a selfie stick and all that, but okay. We'll figure it out. Okay. But I just love these feathered tulips. They are amazing. And I'll tell you a little secret. When I am working with a tulip, because the tulip stems are kind of, they have a texture to them. So I remove the foliage that's going to be down there, and then I go in here and I kind of look so that I can see my way clear, like I'm doing right now. I can't see my way clear because I can't see. There we go. Water. I want to see water, and I want to head towards the water with the stem. Okay. Now, the other thing about my tulips, and I want you to remember this, is when I'm cutting my tulips to go in my arrangement, I cut them a little bit shorter than what I actually think I'm going to need them. There we go, heading towards the water. Because what's going to happen is they're going to grow and they're going to open up. So they're going to get bigger. And so having them a little bit shorter is really helpful, because then they will grow out of the bouquet and into the room a little bit more so that they can really be appreciated. The other thing that's important, all of those things that we talked about for the carnations in our Chrysal Professional 3 is extremely important for the tulips as well, because the tulips need that extra sugar supply to open, stay vibrant colors, be really pretty, open and close. Tulips are very active. They are all the time. They are growing, opening, closing, doing all of those interesting things. And all of that takes energy. And so without our floral food in the water, they're gonna get hungry. It's like if you tried to run a marathon with nothing in your belly, no muscle and all that stuff and all those, good things, or tried to work all day in the garden and you hadn't eaten, you're going to run out of energy. And so same thing happens with our flowers, is they can run out of energy. So look at that. Love it. Love it. Love it. Coming together. Okay, here I got one more bunch. See, look. Look at that. They're so pretty. Wild. Okay, so we're going to take our wrapper off. Use them over here. Now, see, this is the other thing, too. As those tulips are wrapped and sitting there, sometimes inside there, if there's a little bit of moisture inside there, you might get some rotten stuff inside. So I always examine I just picked these up this morning. Always examine them. Always look at your flowers right away. Do not let them sit in a bucket for a while until you look at them, because you want to make sure you get them open, get that packaging off of them, so that you can make sure that everybody's doing okay, looking good. And they are. I mean, I just cut away that piece and I still had very usable tulip. Not a problem. No problem. Because, I think sometimes people forget that. Look at how pretty that is. We're dealing with a perishable product, right? So sometimes, we're also dealing with a product that is like produce, right? I mean, you sometimes get home and you'll open a bag of potatoes and you'll have one that's not good. You throw it away. That's what happens, right? Because it's not like it's permanent. It's not like something can't happen to it on the way here, or something like that, So I think it's important for you to examine your things right away. Look at them. I always like to look at them when I'm picking them out. I will sometimes put back a bunch and say, no, I'm not getting that one. Okay. So, it's important. All right. You know what? I have plenty in this one over here. I'll put another one over here. And I have one more. I want one more right in the middle, but I want it to be a little bit shorter so that when it grows up, it's going to grow out of the middle. Oh, come on. See, I got to follow my own rule and look down in between, everybody. There we go. Found it. Okay. So then I told you about finding something in my garden that I want to share, right? And that will help theme my arrangement. And so look at this. I have had the most glorious bleeding hearts this year. Just absolutely phenomenal. You know, my dad used to grow bleeding hearts all the time at by our house in Nebraska. And I loved them. I never, ever, ever, until I moved here to Michigan, tried them as a cut flower. And they're a fabulous cut flower. They do well. They last and last and last. And so we're going to add a few little bleeding hearts in this bouquet. I broke one there. Okay, going to get rid of him. And cut that there. And what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to stick it down in the center. Going to look for my direction to water. Look at how that hangs over the top of everything. You got that little curve coming up there like that. That's pretty fantastic. I've got a little leaf over here. I'm just going to add to my smaller arrangement. That's pretty. But isn't it, I mean, I just think it's fun to have hearts in an arrangement. It's like, oh, I love you. Yeah. See, look at it. The arrangement says so. Right? So I love that. You know what? With bleeding hearts, they have a hollow stem. I like to use a knife to cut it because I think that that is better for everybody involved. And so let's see. I think right here. I'm always happy flat, and then I find my direct path to water right away. Look at how great that looks. I love my little Monstera leaf here. I'm just going to tuck him in a little bit more because I don't want him flopping down on the side like that. Look at how pretty that is. Okay, I'm going to scoot him over to the side there. Okay, and then I have one bleeding heart here still to add. Now, the other thing about these I love is you can use that and press those, and then you'll have a little bleeding heart picture. Oh, I am completely, totally getting into pressed flowers again. I know. So there's that. We have a show on Jay Schwanke's Life in Bloom coming up that is going to be about dried flowers, and I'm just so excited about that. Again, we're going to use my knife to cut that so that we have a nice, big, great-looking cut like that. And this little leaf is going to go in there. Look how pretty that looks, too. Ta-da! So, we have two gorgeous arrangements. And we're going to use our final step, always, is to coat them with Chrysal Professional Glory. Everybody benefits, especially that grevillea, because those little bottle brush flowers, the little feathers on our tulips, our bleeding hearts, everybody is looking good, okay? And it's going to benefit from the Chrysal Professional Glory because it helps seal in the moisture and protect them so they don't evaporate water as quickly off of their face. We're still running our heaters here in Michigan, so these little bottle brush flowers, the tulips feathers, the bleeding hearts, those could dry out, and so we want to make sure that we do that. So I hope you like these. I think it's fun, right? We got a pretty arrangement to take to Mom for Mother's Day. And we've got this other little arrangement that can hang around the house because, you know, when I'm picking out the flowers too, I'm also picking them out, you know, for her, but I'm also saying, oh, and I love that, and I love that, and I love that. So I want to have a little bit of it hanging around here so that I can look at it too. So I hope you're enjoying your rituals. I hope you're doing that. I hope you're taking time to please yourself. I hope you're picking out your favorite beverage, having your cup of coffee or tea, maybe a glass of wine when you're arranging your flowers, feeling the health and wellness benefits of how it calms you down and makes you feel better when you're arranging flowers. And then having flowers around the house also makes us feel better and helps us, you know, just live a better life, happier, less depressed, fewer arguments in our homes. If we're feeling sick, we get better faster. All of those are just thanks to the flowers. Flower power on, right? Okay, so until next time, keep having fun with flowers.